up, YouTube peeps? Today I want to talk about the Canon 5D Classic. And probably about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I stumbled upon this on Craigslist, and then I bought it for about I think it was 150 I bought it for. And at the time it only had like 8,000, about 8,000 accentuations on it. So I decided to pull the trigger. It was like super affordable. The cool thing about this camera back in the day was at the time when I worked in camera sales, this was like the biggest camera at the time, full frame. And I wanted to buy it. Couldn't afford it at the time. I think it was around $3,000. And then I ended up getting like a cheaper Canon APS-C. And then when I was going through more of the digicam type era stuff, like, this was a camera I kind of came back to, and it's kind of cool being able to like afford it now, which is like $150. And on here I have the 85 millimeter lens, which I've only shot a little bit with. I'll probably do a separate video actually on this lens. The main lens I shoot on is it's the Canon 17-40, which I think this used to be like I think it was like the original kit lens you would get with these. When I went to photography school, I know a lot of kids shot on this, and I think I got this one for like a couple $100 as well. And I think this lens has been pretty reliable. The biggest thing I like about this lens is it kind of brings me back to like my photojournalism days when I was doing a lot of projects. And the surprising thing to me was just like, actually the most surprising thing about this camera has been the fact that the color science still to this day, it just has like a certain look to it. I think a lot of the older school DSLR cameras have had just like a certain look at the time, but for some reason this one, I think it brings me back to almost like definitely like a classic look from when I first started moving into digital. And I've actually done a few gigs with this, but I work in tandem with this lens, and I have a Fuji XH2S, and this camera I'll bring along, and especially with like the 85 millimeter, I've been shooting a little bit more on that. That lens is actually a friend's lens that they had when they pulled it out. They're like, "Is this a good lens?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably." From what I remember, it was like one of the holy grail lenses at the time, and it still holds up to this day. I like the thing about this too that's really funny is the menu system is very simple. I kind of miss like those like older like menu systems like that. Uh, they don't have like too many bells or whistles, and I think that was something with like the Sony systems, with like the mirrorless. They almost had like too much stuff on it, and I feel like going back to this system has helped me pursue photography how I used to. It kind of brought me back to this like old school mindset where I'm not, if to chimp you can't, you have to like press a couple buttons. I definitely like the quirkiness of like camera systems like that. So when everything's just kind of like too easy now, even with the XHS2, there's certain features on there where the camera tends to do like everything for you. So with this lens, I think I've definitely gone back to more of like a more methodical way of shooting. It's definitely not like a film way, but it's like pretty similar. Anyways, I mostly what I shot on this the past couple of years is going back to Crow Fair. It was cool to put on, like I had a like a Helios lens that I would carry with me as well, and it was nice to walk around and have this. It's a bit bulkier, it's pretty heavy, but I think it made me have to pack less to bring this camera, and just with the simple setup with the 17 to 40, and then I would have like the Helios lens in my back pocket. I shot some really cool stuff at Crow Fair past couple of years. So yeah, I'll just show some of those like photos, and here we go. You know, my opinion on this camera, I think for the type of technology we have for post-processing, I think this definitely holds up to this day. I mean, I wouldn't do like any commercial type stuff, but if I was doing like an ongoing project, I think it would be fun to shoot on this camera just specifically and just kind of get like a specific look out of it. And I'd actually like to see more on print and see how that still holds up till today. But in Lightroom, it's, you know, like most of the graininess from it, I think it seems to have like bigger pixels, so I kind of like using it mostly for like nighttime shooting as well. I think it holds up pretty nice. It doesn't fall apart too much. But when it does, my rule of thumb is sometimes I'll just like convert it to like black and white. And I think with this, like I said, with this camera, I think if you're looking to get something like very entry level, or if you want to kind of go back to like an old system and just kind of remember like what it was like to shoot in the 2000s with these kind of cameras, like I'm sure you can get them for 150 to like maybe 400. I wouldn't spend too much on it. I mean, depending on how much you want to use a camera like this, but I don't take it for every gig. If there's a specific events or situations that maybe I could just like throw this in my bag as well. I like to shoot on it a little bit, so I don't necessarily use it as my main camera, but I'll use it as like a backup and see what kind of photos I get out of it. But there are a couple with the 85 millimeter that I did for some couple shots for a wedding, or like before a wedding. So they wanted some simple shots downtown, and it was cool just to kind of throw this lens in there and just see kind of how the bokeh was in the background. So I think, but as far as the processing goes, it was pretty simple. I didn't have to do too much to it. But as far as the dynamic range, it is what it is, but you're going to get a certain look out of it that I think you could use from time to time. So I've been wanting to talk about this camera for some time. I'll probably update, who knows how long the next camera will be. I'll probably talk about some lenses that I use, and just like my thought processes on it. At some point, maybe I can get more in depth with how I edit stuff on Lightroom. I've been working off of my iPad more. I think Lightroom just works really well in tandem with like just editing on my laptop. So I've been using that the past like couple of years. Stuff that it's just simpler to carry. I don't use my laptop as much anymore, so I'm mainly focused on the Lightroom. But with this, yeah, I think this one works perfect. I think next time I'll probably talk about the Fuji X-T1. That was one camera that got me back into like loving like photography again, and that was a camera system that came out maybe even like 12 years ago or something like that. And so but yeah, this this is a good camera. I'll probably never sell this. If people want to like mess around with it, I'll let them shoot on this if we're like going out and shooting, you know, as friends and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a good beginner camera. I think any of those cameras from like if you're getting into photography, I think going back to the old SLRs is a good way to go if you just want to like learn how to shoot. It's just a simple setup for you to like, you know, make your mistakes and just learn. So but yeah, this is a camera that I've wanted to talk about for a while. So it's a quick video. So I think yeah, on to the next. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe, and share.